The patch notes just came around 1 week ago, and there is already so many broken things with this new meta. And so to fix them, I'll create a new patch notes trying to fix the new meta. If you like it or if you have any of your own ideas, write in the comments down below. Trust me, I will read them. And so to start off, we have the Archer Queen. For the Archer Queen, I would like to see a couple reworks to all of her promotions. So to start off, her first promotion, besides being a boss, it would also be a clash. So these would make her first ability stand out a lot more, because honestly the boss might never appear in the battle. So I feel like if it turned into a clash as well, it would be a lot more polarized and a lot more intense to see right at the start of the game. For the second ability, I would like that besides getting 4 charges to the super, you would also get a 30% attack speed to the super. Because in case you don't know, even though it appears the rage sheeple on the Archer when he activates the super, she does not actually have an attack speed buff, which is very weird as well. So I would really appreciate this ability to kind of fix that problem. But to compensate for these buffs and to kind of fix her broken thing, her third promotion, now instead of being 2 times damage, it would only be +1 damage. Honestly, there are a lot of people that call Archer Queen underrated, but in every single video they always use this specific ability. And I mean, it's just obvious. This ability value, it's always guaranteed. And so to kinda balance it out with the rest of the promotions, make it instead of 2 times damage +1 damage, that should balance all of her promotions. Next we have Skeleton King. For the Skeleton King, I want his overall damage to be increased from 4 to 5. Because honestly, his DPS, unless you use his first ability, his DPS is pretty bad. For his third promotion, I want the Skeleton Warrior, instead of having 12 HP, he would have 20 HP. Honestly, for a warrior, he just dies way too quickly. I still remember the time where he summoned guards, that was so much stronger. And I want his second promotion, instead of being 100% lifesteal, it would be 200% lifesteal. Why this change? Because for him to have the lifesteal, he needs to die, and then he gets 100% lifesteal. Countess has the 100% lifesteal just by existing, and she also applies anti-heal. So I feel like this lifesteal really needs a bit of love, and doubling its amount should make the revive and the lifesteal a lot more impactful in the game. For Natureborn, I just want to see her base attack speed increase from 1.2 to 1.3, like how it used to be. Honestly, I just feel like she's just weak, honestly. The human form especially, it only deals 1 damage, has a slow attack speed. I just feel like she definitely deserves this buff. For the Shield Maiden, I honestly just want to see her super, instead of healing, to get block. The block to start off is better than healing. Healing can be reduced with anti-heal. And honestly, the fact that she does not receive less damage while she's on the super side, it is super weird. It just does not feel right. So please change this super cell. For the Countess, I just want to see her super also apply anti-heal to the enemy for 4 seconds. Honestly, if with her third promotion she can deal anti-heal, I can't see why she wouldn't with her super. For me, it's just something that does not make sense at all, and I definitely feel like the anti-heal in her super was quite important to counter some heroes like the Barbarian King and the Wave Master, and now you need Elixir for that. And I feel like with her base super dealing anti-heal, it will make her super so much more valuable. Now onto the nerfs, and a very well deserved one by the way, we have Royal Champion. For Royal Champion, I want her base attack speed to be reduced from 1.2 to 1.1. But there is another thing that needs to be fixed, because if you nerf her attack speed, all of her other promotions will be worthless. The major problem it is the third promotion, and to fix that, I want it to have a limit of 7 stacks. Kinda like how Countess's second promotion worked. So now Royal Champion will never deal more than 10 damage. But to be honest, if your enemy Royal Champion is already dealing 10 damage, you might be in a lot of trouble still. But to compensate for this tiny nerf and to not nerf the other promotions, I want her initial energy to be increased from 1 to 2. Just to kind of fix the problem with her super not being necessary for her kit because of the third promotion. Next we have the Monk, and for the Monk I just want to see a tiny nerf to his HP from 55 to 50. Honestly, he has just been way too versatile. His spears, his super is really fast, and he's quite beefy and hard to kill. But I could not nerf him without nerfing the Royal Champion first, because he was like one of the best counters for her. So I hope that with this tiny nerf, Monk will be slightly more balanced. Now into the minis, I already suggested some of these balance changes before and they didn't happen, so I will try to be a little bit quicker on these ones, and if you want to see the whole thing, watch my previous video about the patch notes. I promise you, you will want to see that. So for the Barbarian, as I said earlier, I just want to see his HP either be increased from 12 to 18, so that he's tankier and he has a lot more attack speed because he has more HP, or just make sure that his attack speed buff does not get resetted when he gets healed. Again, just to make his passive better, a lot better, or make his HP be higher so that his passive can also be slightly better. For the Spear Goblin, again as well, I want his clash damage to be increased from 10 to 15, and his first upgrade damage to be increased from plus 10 to plus 15, which means 30 damage in total. His spear is just way too weak, it needs a buff. For the Dagger Goblin, again, I want to see the duration of his Frenzy modes increase from 1 second to 1 second and a half, and I want his damage to be increased from 3 to 4. Honestly, it does not matter how great the attack speed buff, as long as it does not last even more than a tiny bit of a second. It doesn't even have that many impact if he's walking. So also increases damage because honestly, even for a 2 elixir, he is very weak. For the guards, again, I want to see his HP be increased from 15 to 18, his clash shield from 8 to 12, and his first upgrade from plus 4 shield to plus 8 shield, which means 20 shield in total. Guard is a terrible tank, he has no synergies, and he's just not worth it. For the Dagger Thrower, again as well, Jesus, I want his base attack speed to be increased from 0.6 to 0.7, and his attack speed per upgrade to be increased from plus 0.1 to plus 0.15. Honestly, it just takes way too much for this guy to ramp up the damage, or to even get a boost, or to deal triple or double damage, whatever. He just attacks way too slow, and he's supposed to be a high damage dealer, and I just don't feel it, and can't see that. So buff his attack speed. Now on to patch notes that I have not asked previously. I want the Archer to have her HP increase from 8 to 10. She just dies way too quickly. Even with the clan synergy, I feel like they are kinda using that as an excuse to not make more HP, but regardless, she needs not to die to every single attack in the game. For the Knight, I want to see his base attack speed be increased from 0.4 to 0.6. I know that's not what he's meant to do, but I just feel like he attacks way too slowly. And I want that his third upgrade, instead of being plus 2 seconds, to be plus 4 seconds. I miss the time where he would just down half of the board and it would take ages for them to go to the Knight. I feel like that was kinda his big deal ability, and now it's not that great, so buff it just a little bit, it should make the Knight a lot better. Next, for the Battle Healer, I want her third upgrade, instead of being that weird injury plus 3 damage, I want it to be the block again. Honestly, this ability just does not make any sense. Like, she already deals 2 damage, she's supposed to be a healer, and you're making her deal more damage. It does not even fit her kit at all, so please bring her block back. It was kinda her clutch mechanic and I absolutely really enjoyed it. Next, for the Golden Giant, I want to see his third upgrade now also grant him a block for 3 seconds. I already asked for this one previously, but besides that, I also want his attack speed to be increased from plus 0.1 to, from plus 0.05 to plus 0.1, and his attack damage to be increased from 1 to 2, and his energy cost to be reduced from 9 to 7. Golden Giant, in my opinion, it's a complete joke. His second ability does not even make sense, and with the cheaper super it should now feel slightly better. His injury should now be actually viable, and he should deal a decent amount of damage like the other tanks. So I hope that Golden Giant might finally be at least a decent tank in this game. Next, for the Musketeer, I want to see her base attack speed increase from 0.5 to 0.6. Honestly, it just takes for her way too much to get the super. I know she's a ranger, but I just feel like she needs it. She just attacks way too slowly, and she gets completely outshined by the Electro Wizard, so please buff her. Next for the Royal Ghost, this one might be a bit weird for you to understand, but I want his attack animation to be faster. The only reason why he cannot go invisible as frequently as he used to be before this whole update is because now his animation is a lot slower, and because of that he can't go invisible that quickly. I know exactly how does that scales with his attack speed, but I just want to see his attack animation to be faster, at least so that he can go invisible like how he could before his nerf. For the villager, I already asked for this in my previous video, but I want her passive, instead of being 50% attack speed, to be rage. Her passive is just way too good with long range heroes. It's just way too strong. It should be slightly more balanced. And this should be a severe nerf to long range heroes, but a decent tiny buff to close range heroes. For the Electro Wizard, I want to see his initial energy being reduced from 1 to 0, and his attack speed being reduced from 0.7 to 0.65. I honestly feel like he gets his super way too easily. Like, I feel like whenever he gets that super, it's like the end of the world for me. It has so much value. It's just way too strong, that stun. So nerf it down just a little bit. How often he appears in the match should balance him out a slight bit. For the Diffuser, I already asked for this in the previous video, but I want his disarm to be every 4 hits instead of every 3 hits, so that he no longer can perma-disarm long-range units, which just completely counters them. So this should make the Diffuser not cancelled in that specific situation. For the Bandit, I know I will probably be the only one who is asking for a Bandit nerf, but I definitely want to see her second upgrade, instead of being a freaking 3-second stun, go to a 1.5 second stun. I just feel like that stun, it is way too powerful. It's just way too much. And lastly, let's talk about a couple synergies. They are very important in Clash Mini right now, and we definitely should talk about them. To start off, we have the Undead, and I want he eats 4 units instead of being the weirdest thing ever, plus 2 damage to both sides. How the hell is that useful? I am even scared of putting more than 3 Undead units on the game because of this synergy. So instead, I would like it to be plus 1 damage to every enemy. This should make the Undead synergy actually viable at 4 units, because other than that, I will never ever use the 4 units. That is like suicide in a certain way. It's just way too risky to use it. For the Rogues, I have a very weird buff idea, but I want its 4 units ability. Instead of being Rogues have 50% chance to deal plus 2 damage, I want it to be and Rogues have 50% chance to deal plus 2 damage. What's the difference? It's that you can deal plus 1 damage and deal the plus 2 damage. So these 2 abilities can stack, and they can happen simultaneously at the same time. This would make the Rogue a lot stronger, because they, at 4 units, they would like always deal plus 1 damage at least, or just deal tons and tons of damage. And that is, in my opinion, exactly what they need. For the Royal synergy, I have no idea who the hell asked for a buff to this synergy in the previous meta, but make so that their 2 unit, instead of being 15 seconds, it will be 10 seconds. It's like, it just does not even make sense, especially because now the meta, it's no longer high concentrated pure damage, unless you're playing Royal and you're a monk. Now, this ability, this synergy, it's a lot, and I mean a lot stronger. So for me, it needs just a tiny nerf, or most importantly, it didn't even need a buff in the previous meta. So pretty much make it go back to what it used to be. And lastly, for the Rangers, I want to see a tiny rework to their 4 units ability. Instead of being what it is right now, I would like to be and Rangers plus 15% attack speed every 3 seconds. This would obviously be an overall buff, and I feel like they kinda need it, because their 4 ability it's quite weak. Their 2 ability it's actually quite decent, but their 4 one definitely needs a buff. So there it is. And there you have it, all the balances that I want to see in the next update on Clash Mini. What are your thoughts, and do you have any other balances idea? Say in the comments, I will read them. And I'll see you on the next one.